Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. The game I'm going to show today is the third round match between Nawaz, Zehri, and me, and it was the last match of the first day. So he played knight f3. I replied with knight f6. He played d4. I played g6, and he played c4, bishop g7, and he played knight c3, and I replied with the Grünfeld uh, d5. It was a tough draw for me facing ex-Balochistan champion Nawaz Zehri, a master of positional play. We faced each other first time in a match, uh, uh, and the funny thing is that we both were not expecting to play each other so early in the event, and we play a friendly match uh, just before the pairing of the third round in exactly the same line. So he played the Hungarian attack bishop f4, and I don't know why, but I played here c5. c5 is, according to the computer, an inaccuracy, but it is not at all an inaccuracy, or maybe today's engines are uh, very much superior. Uh, in the exactly the same line, I saw a game of Karpov and Gary Kasparov in 1986 match, and there is a game of Alexei Derev as well as Mamadiaro Caruana, I think, in 2016. So it is a tactical line. Uh, it is a tactical line, and as I was not aware of the style of play of Nawaz Zehri, so I opted for this line. Uh, although Peter Swidler in his course recommend in this position the knight to h4, knight h4, and after bishop to g5, h6, bishop can go to h4 or even d2. The d2 is more strong. Uh, but here I played the move c5, uh, and he replied with e6. I played knight c6, and he played bishop to e2, and I took the pawn on d4. He took back with the pawn, and I castled as well. And as his bishop has moved, uh, so I took the c4 pawn, making him lose the tempo, and then I replied with bishop g4. He played this very interesting move at d5. I was expecting the retreat of the bishop, but this move is very strong. And I replied with knight to a5, and now he returned the bishop to e2. Here, the game is very positional and very complex, and I played rook to c1, and he replied with rook to c8, and he replied with rook to c1, and I played knight to uh, c5, as my knight was rather passive on the rank, uh, on the rim, so I was rather opting to place my knight to d6. He correctly took the knight, and I took back with the rook, and now his bishop is under attack, and he played bishop to e3 with a tempo over the a7 pawn. So I play, after a lot of consideration, I played this move queen to a5, and he replied with h3. h3 is a very interesting move, forcing me to give up the bishop pair. So I took the knight, and he took back with the queen, and then I played knight to d7, uh, trying to place my knight uh, at e5, and here he played queen to e2, getting a tempo over my rook and uh, trying to build pressure over the e7 pawn in future. So I doubled the rook on c5, and he played bishop to d2, and I uh, played queen to d8, and now he played rook f to e1, trying to pressurize my e7 pawn. So here I played bishop to f6, and he replied with knight to uh, e4, and I exchanged one pair of rook and then return my bishop because I was not interested to give up my dark square bishop, which is the asset in Grünfeld. So here he played bishop to g5, and I played knight to f6. It took me 2-3 hours to understand this move because according to the computer it is a mistake, and I don't know why. Because the line the computer recommend is pawn to h6, and then after bishop to h5, then to play this move. And I don't know why my previous move was a mistake, because the game remained equal, and it is very hard for any side to do anything. Uh, but after a lot of thought, uh, what I understand, and that the bishop, uh, the white can play this line as well, and now knight to c6 is very strong. White is, or if he play the same line uh, after this move, I can play pawn to g5, and after the bishop move to g3, now I can play the other pawn to f4, f5, and then I can win this pawn in return of the uh, my e pawn. So a very hard decision, uh, positional decision. So I was expecting to exchange one pair of pieces, and he took with the bishop, which is I think not a good move. But anyhow, I took back with the pawn. Now this pawn is isolated. It can be an asset. It can be a uh, liability. He played queen to b5, uh, protecting his d pawn as well as attacking my b7 pawn. And here I made a big blunder, although it is very hard to understand. You have to calculate very carefully that b6 is a blunder because of the move, uh, because of this move, and uh, the white pawn is getting very dangerous in this position. So, but he missed this d6 move, and he played knight to uh, c3, and here I played f5 anyway to activate my bishop, and here he played a3, and I played h5. He played a3 because he was expecting me to take the knight, and after this I can take this pawn, but he has this move and I will lose my queen. So he was maybe he was thinking that after f5 move I'm going to take the knight and take back this pawn, or try to take back this pawn, but he has this very strong move, rook to e8, and I will be losing. So he just played a waiting move, but I correctly played uh, h5, getting a square for my king and establishing my pawns on the king side. Here he played rook to d1 to protect uh, his d pawn, and I blockade with the queen, although queen is not a good blockader, but knight has no squares to attack my queen, uh, and he played queen to a6 attacking my rook, and I just uh, played queen to d7 protecting my rook, and he played rook to d3, and here I played rook to c5. See, rook to c5 is pressurizing the d pawn, and I was having some plans somehow to arrange my pieces. Suppose my queen is on c7, then I can play this move as well. There is a tempo over the queen, and instead of c7, if my queen is on c6, the queen can be even trapped. Uh, so it's a very nice move, and I'm also pressurizing the d pawn indirectly, as after takes I can take this pawn, and this is the main asset of the white position. So he played pawn to d6, and there are two types of blunders in chess. One blunder is when you miss an opportunity, and the other type of blunder is when you give an opportunity. Here I make a hasty move, although my plan initially was to somehow arrange this queen trap, but here I can easily do that, and I will be in a big advantageous position. Uh, not now, because first I take this pawn, and he played this move, pawn to a4, and instead I took the pawn. He play uh, uh, because there is a back rank issue after this move. I can give a check, not even give a check, I can easily checkmate him. So, or he will lose his rook and queen for a rook. So that move is not possible because of as this square is covered, so rook c1 is a mating threat. So he correctly stopped the threat with not correctly. He played this prophylactic move g3, and here I missed that what I was arranging from last 3 4 moves. The queen to c6 is simply winning, because after queen to c6, the threat is rook to a5, and the queen is trapped. This square is covered by the rook, this square is covered by the queen, and queen covered here. Rook covered this pawn as well. So there is no way. So the only way for him is to play rook to d1, and then I can play king to g7, and after knight to e2, I can play this move, and my pieces are beautifully arranged, and this endgame is winning. This endgame is winning for black because the pawns are on both sides of the board, and bishop is better than knight when the pawns are on both ranks. But unfortunately, missed this queen two. Although I don't know why I missed, because I was seriously hoping for uh, to somehow get my rook to a5. But here I played queen two, e6, and he took the pawn at a7, and I played bishop to e5, and he gave a check. And now his threat is to uh, get rook to da and try to checkmate me somehow. So I played uh, king to g7, and he played rook to d8, and I took the knight because after this check I can uh, my king can go to h7, and this square will be protected by the bishop. Uh, so he checked me, but there is no immediate checkmate here. And I played queen to e1 check, and then I exchanged the queen. Although I could have taken this pawn as well, protecting the same thing, but I rather simplified, and this simplification uh, is the again the position is drawn. So I took the pawn at c3, he took the pawn at b6. I played this cunning move, rook to c2, uh, threatening e3. So he played king to f1, and now I get behind the passed pawn. It is a very useful strategy. Always try to get behind the passed pawn, whether it is your passed pawn or it is opponent's passed pawn. As in this way, you will preserve your rook's activity. So here my rook is more active than his rook, but again I played this f5 move, although would be rather better to play g6 here, and then after king to g7 and f6, then I can push up uh, my king to g6. But I played this move f5, and he checked from a7, and I moved the king to h6, and he played a brilliant move, h4, stopping all of my ideas and attack. So my king is stuck, my pawns are stuck. The only thing I can move is the rook. So I played rook to a3, and he played a5. Now, in such position, you have always to assess that as my pieces are stuck, and soon if this pawn get to a7, I will be in a Zugzwang position, and he will try to activate his king this way, and I will be in a lot of trouble. So I played this move, a3, trying to weaken his pawn structure because this pawn is uh, three squares away from promotion, and he has to move his rook as well, twice or thrice. So I have some time before uh, getting bound to the a pawn. He took the pawn, I took with the rook, and he played king to f2. and I return the rook. Here he played a6, and I was waiting for a6 because if I play g5 now, then he can check me and then take the pawn. So I was waiting for this move to play g5. So I played g5, trying to create something uh, in this dead drawn position, and he played rook to a8, and I took the pawn. I was expecting that he will take back the pawn, and I will somehow uh, try to use my pawn, f pawn, but there is no way. Uh, but at least he cannot now activate the king. Uh, the idea is that if he take the a pawn and I play f4, and after this move I have to return to g or g7 or h7, then he cannot activate the king. Now he cannot move the king because this pawn is getting promoted. So he will be bound waiting for because of my f pawn. But I think he overthink the situation. Here, Mr. Nawaz Zehri played a move which surprised me a lot. And when he completed the move and pressed the clock, he was surprised as well. In his mind, he was thinking that his pawn is not at a6, instead it is on a7. So he can give me a check, and after this move, he can promote, which is a very common tactic in the uh, pawn and rook endgame. So he played rook to h8. Now I thought why he's giving up his pawn, and I was not interested to give my these two pawn for this pawn because this will be a dead draw. So I played king to uh, g6 instead of g7, because after g7 he can simply take this pawn, and if I take this he can take this or this pawn, and the game is a dead draw. Now I was expecting that he will return the rook to save this pawn, or no, the return is a blunder. He cannot return, he has to first take this pawn, and when I take this he has to fight against these two pawns, uh, against one, but that is a draw, but it's a very technical draw because I will try to move my king here, and then I will be winning, but it is very hard to go there because this pawn is hanging. Uh, but there are some ideas like this, and go like this to g4. But he thought that he can save this pawn, so he returned the rook to a8, and which is a losing blunder because now I took the pawn at g3 with check, and after this move, because this pawn is not at a7, because if it is an a7 I could not play my next move. Because it is on a6, I have one move to move my king, and as he played this move I move here, and now my king is shielded by my f pawn, and there is no way that he can save this position. He played king to h3, and I simply played rook to a2, and the next move he's getting mate whatever he do. So mate is unavoidable, and he resigned in this position. Very unfortunate because he played a brilliant game till this position, and it was a complete draw. But due to some blind spots in your calculation, sometimes it happens. He thought his pawn is at a7, so he played in haste this move rook to h8, and that is something to learn. Whenever you are having an overwhelming idea, try to take, because it is a classical game, try to take some time, and even if someone uh, uh, takes your queen with a queen and you are going to take back the queen, just take some 30 seconds and uh, just calm down and then play the move. So a very unfortunate loss for Nawaz Zeri. It was a very tough game, and I played this game with a centi-pawn loss of 19, and he played with a centi-pawn loss of 36, which is brilliant. And overall, in all of the tournament games, my centi-pawn was loss was below 20, which is very good. And thank you so much. Please like and subscribe.